I'm gonna move on to Dark Souls 3. Now, I say impressions at the beginning of this because I don't want to review it. I do want to finish the game. I've only played about 15 hours only. Um, the game's only been out a couple days. But, so I love Dark Souls. Love it to death. And Dark Souls 3, I think is the best one. I really think it, the more I play it, the more I'm very convinced that this, now sure, some of it does rely on nostalgia for the first one in particular, but also for 2 a little bit. Mainly for the first one, but it's so well crafted. I mean, they've added in things from Bloodborne, which, going back to Battleborn, is also confusing. They've added things from Bloodborne. It is faster. It is more about dodging, for damn sure, especially some of these bosses that are basically just ruthlessly aggressive, and you can't block all their attacks. You might be able to back away. You gotta roll. You gotta roll. And that's what I love about Bloodborne. Very interesting, very changed up. But you still have to block in here. It is slower. It's basically, I would almost say, because we have Dark Souls over here, and then you have Bloodborne. And Bloodborne's more action, and Dark Souls is slower and plotting. I would almost say Dark Souls 3 is a slower Bloodborne, rather than saying it's a faster Dark Souls. Maybe it's just the way I play it. I started as a deprived class, which kind of was not a mistake, but you start the game with a loincloth and that's it, and the first boss in the tutorial area is kind of difficult when you don't have anything, like he can two-shot you. You don't have any armor. I played it with one of the other classes with like the assassin or something, and like beat him the second try. It's like, oh, this is a lot easier when you have armor. Yeah, it is. It's a lot easier when you have armor. But it's fun playing as a pro. I didn't even have anything but pants until after the second boss. So on that regard, the beginning I would say is easier than other Souls games, because me intentionally playing as the weakest starting class was satisfyingly difficult, and where Dark Souls should be, in my opinion. So if I was having not that difficult of time with no armor, I'd imagine if I had armor, it would have been easier. So it might be the most accessible from the start. Hard to gauge, really, especially since I've played so much of all these games. Then it gets a little more difficult, and getting to these areas, there's a big problem with Dark Souls 2, in how it just felt very, not uninspired and not paint by numbers, but there's so many areas in Dark Souls 2 that are like, oh, this is a really cool room. Could have made a whole area based on this, but we just made this one room and instead did nothing. Like, okay, well, you have 50 different area types in this game. Maybe you could have made fewer area types and made some of these other areas larger. That's what I wanted from Dark Souls 2. There's too many areas. There's too many areas in Dark Souls 2 that mean nothing. And they actually kind of fixed that in the DLC. The DLC is some of the more interesting stuff. And Dark Souls 1 doesn't have that problem, obviously. Demon Souls doesn't have that problem. Bloodborne doesn't have that problem. Dark Souls 3 doesn't have that problem. These areas are massive. Some of them, more specifically, are just huge. And you'll circle back, and then there's a shortcut here, and there's a shortcut there. In the way that Dark Souls 1 was. And that's so good. I know people are saying, oh, it's linear. Sure. Okay, sure. It's linear. But technically so was Dark Souls 1. It just had different ways to go. It's no less linear than it's definitely less linear than Bloodborne, I would say. It feels like there's entire areas that are optional. I don't know I had to go to this one cathedral place. I don't think I had to go there at all. I'm not sure if I do, or if I did. But nothing happened at the end of it after I beat the boss, and so I just left. So there's stuff like that. There's this other boss I fought. Pretty sure he was optional. There are beaten paths to go. I didn't have to explore this whole the second area of the game, this settlement, Undead Settlement. I didn't have to go and explore that. I didn't. I could have just wandered around. the other way and never seen half of that area. Never saw the giant guy. Never saw an NPC from Dark Souls 1. Not that anyone's going to be like watching this for spoilers, but I'm going to have no spoilers. But it's so well done, and it's better. The areas are better than Bloodborne, in my opinion. Close to, if not better, than Dark Souls 1. Because of how they're set up. It's so good. This is exactly what Dark Souls should be. These large areas that circle back. You'll be looking at 5 hours later, you'll be on a tall object of some kind. And you'll look over and be like, oh, I was there, and I walked over here, and then I walked over here. And that's something that Dark Souls 2 didn't really have. And that was part of my problem with it. It felt so disconnected. And you're just going. It wasn't that it was linear. It was just, you were just going. Just go this way. Alright, I guess I'll just go this way. As opposed to Dark Souls 1, where you can be at the top of Sen's Fortress and look around. And you can be at the bottom by a Gravelord Nito. And you can see the lava area. And then from the lava area, you can look over and be like, that's the darkness from over there. It's all interconnected. And it's connected in the same way here. Back to the linearity. There's saying it's more linear. I guess it is in some respects. But the areas themselves, even if there's nothing around, there's nothing secret around that corner. Hey, Wolfman, even if there's nothing secret around the corner, there's still a corner. There's a room I walked into, and there was a message on the ground, and it was like, watch out behind you. And I walk in a little further and turn around, and this giant spider comes down. And this room only existed to have a treasure chest in it, and the spider to drop down for me to fight. And that was awesome. I've never seen the spider again. This giant spider thing was like twice the size of your character. Never seen it again. That room existed just for that. And I'm totally fine with anything like that. That's what Dark Souls is about to me, is these weird little traps. It kind of truncates it. Whereas other games might have a long, winding pathway to get to nothing, really, to like one treasure chest. Now, it kind of just sections it off. Like, here's an optional area that's 2 rooms. It has an interesting encounter. You get everything you need from it. You're done. It simplified it down. What are you talking about? Dark Souls 3. All day, every day. So it's simplified, but it's expanded upon in a way too, because the areas themselves. So the secrets might not be as like this big cavern that I haven't found any large, secret areas or anything. But the areas themselves are larger, much larger. Where you're finding. There's this one bonfire that has 4 exits, and 2 of them are locked, and 1 of them is one way. And you're in this area just going around, and then you'll find the one unlock. And then you go back around, and you find the other one. And it's just this very interesting setup that is Dark Souls 1, much more interesting. Who are you talking to? Anyone. Anyone and everyone. You. I'm talking to you. Now I'm talking to you, just to you, about Dark Souls. Just you. Right now. Let's see what you say to that, actually. Because that's funny. Because what else can I say? Dark Souls 3 is great. I really enjoy it. Really, really good. Not when I get fire thrown at me, though. That's not good. Oh, okay. I'm talking all the voices in my head, too. There's a lot of them. They're all over the place. But, okay. What if... I like to imagine you thought I was, like, talking to someone, like, over there. Or something. Like, just, like, in my room. Like, hey guy. Oh, actually, going to actually talk about Dark Souls. The bosses, I think, are really good. They are easier. I don't know. That's a tough thing. I don't know if I've played too much Dark Souls. In that I'm good. I like to think I'm not that good, but I see some videos of people and I'm like, okay, maybe I am good because you're terrible about the video I'm watching. You know? Some of these bosses, I haven't beaten any boss on the first attempt, but several of them have been the second attempt, a few of them the second attempt. A couple of them have been like, oh, that was easy, I was just being dumb because it was so easy. Not that that's a bad thing, but the bosses, I do think they've toned the bosses down specifically from Demon's Souls, actually, and Dark Souls 1. they've toned them down. They've never been the level that they were before that, where they were kind of crazy and all like any boss could 3-shot you or something. They've definitely toned that down, and here it's easier. Never played this game before. I love it. I love Dark Souls. This is the one to start with, I think. You know, before I would say, oh, to people who never played Souls games, I would say, don't play 2, play 1. 1 is better than Dark Souls 2. And if you play, I mean, sure, people play Dark Souls 2 first and then play 1, and they might like 2 more. I get that, I guess, but Dark Souls 1 is better. Dark Souls 3, I'm pretty sure is the best one. It combines some aspects of Bloodborne, which a lot of people who weren't Souls fans liked. So there is a higher emphasis on dodging and kind of being more active in the combat. You can roll a significant more times than you could before without running out of stamina. Oh, this is cool. I like this part. So I would, yeah, and it's easier. It is easier overall, more or less, to get into, but I don't think the Souls games have ever been that hard. If you ever get stuck on them, you can always go back and level up, or buy a new item, or level up your equipment. There's always something to do. Wow, this is cool. I'm gonna get killed right here. Because there are new things. That's the fun thing to me, is someone who's played hundreds of hours of these games. There's new surprises, like whatever the fuck this is, just coming out of nowhere. And made me like, okay, I'm gonna run away now. I don't know what this means. Then it jumps and kills me. Pretty good. Pretty good. But yeah, never played a Souls game. I would say 3. 3 is, or 1 if you really want to not buy 3. But it's so good. This is exactly what I want from Souls. Exactly. 100%. There are some reviews for this that I've seen that are like, oh, this is now a 7 out of 10 isn't a low score, but they're like disappointed by it and all that. I'm like, I don't get that at all. I don't see, as a Souls fan, and some of these people were Souls fans, I don't see any disappointment in this. There's so much Demon Souls in this. There's so much Dark Souls 1. There's even a little bit of 2. There's a lot of Bloodborne in this too. It's so good. There's nothing it's hard to describe something. It's like there's nothing really wrong with this. You're exploring these lands. There's crazy creatures everywhere. You're around each corner. There's a new enemy that you're like, I don't know what the fuck that does. It's throwing garbage at you. It's like this weird plague monster. You're like, okay, I guess I'm fighting this now. Surprise bosses come out of nowhere that you're like, what is this thing? Oh, it's a giant whatever. You know, you don't care. It's a giant tree. Okay, I guess I'm fighting a giant tree now. Alright. That's what it is. I fought a boss yesterday where it was like this knight. And the boss fights where he's just like killing a bunch of other guys that are challenging him. And then he turns to you and you have to fight him. And then like he'll summon help. But then like other guys will rise from the dead and kind of help you. And there's this weird fight, and you do the whole fight, and then he dies, and then he gets powered up, and you have to fight him again. And he's got fire powers now. And it's awesome. It's just awesome. Like, there's something really fun and cool about the Souls games that no other games out today really do, in my opinion. None of them get close to this in terms of, like, setting. Because it's not. It looks medieval and whatnot, but it's really not. The places you go, it's completely varied and different in terms of that. Like weird poison swamps with these crow demons. You don't see crow demons like anywhere. Constantine, maybe. It's like Orion. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is at all. I have to look that up. I'll look that up. I don't think that's a thing. Not the way I googled it. But no. And that's the thing. I get pants. I like my stupid character like has no armor at all. So I'm making it more difficult on myself. Because I didn't start with any armor, and it took forever for anyone to drop armor. Like, no one dropped armor in this stupid game. Oh, that's another thing that's new. Each weapon has I think it's called focus points. So each weapon, if you dual wield it, you can do a special attack. And I looked it up. I didn't see a game. I saw like an Orion High School, or what? It's on Orion High School. But the focus points. There's special moves that are new, which each weapon special moves. I haven't found much use for them at all, ever, so far. There was one boss I thought I had to use it on, but I was just being dumb, so I didn't. But so I don't know. That's interesting. It also uses like the blue bar for mana, so you use it for magic or these focus point skills. I'm gonna go back and look up this Orion. I looked it up. I got this high school girls basketball. There's some girl with this name. Did I type it wrong? Did you type it wrong? Who typed it wrong? Oh, I typed it wrong. Good call. Oh, it's an Android game? Oh yeah, it does look like they tried to do something similar. This looks more of an MMO though. No, this is better. Don't play this garbage mobile game. No, don't do it. Arlan. Yeah, it's Arlan. Not what I was reading. I was reading it as an I because I know how to read very well. No, Dark Souls 3 is amazing. This isn't a review of Dark Souls 3. Orion Swords and Shadow. Yeah, I saw it. I looked it up on the play on the unless it's also look up images for it. I don't know. No. This looks similar though, in some respects. Yeah, maybe. It might actually be kind of similar. I've never heard of it, but it could be fairly similar. It's no Dark Souls. I've never played a Dark Souls copy that was as good as Dark Souls. Assault and Sanctuary is close, but it's a 2D different. It's a completely different thing. So Wolfman. Something wrong with my finger. I keep trying to fix it. It's driving me insane. That's not what I wanted to talk to you about. Feel free. I do this to no one, as you can see, but I do it every week. Ask me anything. Talk about whatever. I'll talk about any gaming generally, or movies more specifically, or I can ramble about Dark Souls because I'll ramble about anything for hours. It's probably not good. Probably not good. What's wrong? What's wrong with my finger? It's like this weird. It's not a hangnail. It's like a piece of flesh that's coming off of my finger. It's very sad. It's very concerning. I can't get it off, and I don't want to be like. I can't fix my finger. My finger's all broken. The flesh won't go away. It's like it's not a hangnail. It's hang flesh is what it is, and I hate it. Because I can't like pull it. I can't pull it off because then I'm like pulling a giant chunk out of my finger, and that's stupid. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that to your hand. No, that's not good. I like watching Dark Souls though. It's funny watching me, like this is me playing Dark Souls, so I'm watching it, like I remember doing this. Yeah, of course you do, stupid. This is you doing it. Yeah, so ask me questions not about my finger, my broke ass. Fucking stupid. It's a delicate balance because I can't just pull this off, like I said, because I'll rip flesh off my stupid hand. Oh, almost got it. It's a disaster. Ouch. Hey, I fixed it. Solved my finger.